in your presentation, you talked about, you mentioned another major cause of the current crisis is the abrogation of civilian rule. And here you say, or you said, that President Doe decided to continue the same pattern of governance he inherited. Now my question is, was this a conscious decision? Was the pursuit of the path, or was the path chosen by Doe? Was it a conscious and calculated decision to move in that direction, or was it a response to a situation which he had inherited, which he probably had little or no understanding, but yet which he sought to manipulate and control?
When I was a student at Covington, and I was a student with the student government there, we had a dialogue with President Doe surrounding the issues of governance, surrounding the issue of the economic condition of the country. And I do believe in one of the things that he said, that very much it was his intention to move the country in a direction that will bring about prosperity for all Liberians. But that those people that he had asked to advise him were not people who have the country at heart. And so as a result, even though he did not have an inkling of governance, he was going to do it his own way. And so it seems to me, in fact, one of the questions I asked my learned friend Mosoya one time was, power came to the indigenous people, that's what we believe, through Samuel Kanyon Doe. What happened? Because he called all of you guys and asked, you guys to advise him what happened. The answer that he gave to me was that power was shown to them, but power was not given to them. Whoever, I have to believe, that's another thing. But I think the point here is that we have to look at Samuel Kanyon Doe's situation. Here was a man coming up that have no inkling of any form of a developmental process, that's one. But second, that this man is a military man and was not trained for this kind of leadership. And thought here he was surrounded by people who knew what they were doing, and was frustrated with the fact that he was not getting the kind of cooperation and advice that he needed. At the end of it all, he was bound to make some kind of meaning, because he does not understand any economic process in terms of development. He does not understand any political process in terms of development. And so here the man finds himself having to try to do something that he had no idea about. So at the end, he's bound to make a lot of mistakes, which he did. And later on decided, I'm going to do it my own way. And the more he tried to do it his own way, he had to find ways and means to survive. And so he allied himself with his own ethnic group, and some of members of his own ethnic group, and other ethnic groups that he could handpick and use them for the purpose of survival. And we saw that again during the war, how he was able to gather around these people that would support him.
Now, in your presentation, you emphasize that although Doe had made ethnicity central to his policy making, much of the Liberian society continued to operate on other principles. Now, my question is, what were those other principles? How were those principles formulated? And what were the factors giving rise to the formulation of those principles?
The principles are based upon inclusion and integration. I mean, by this time, I think we all need to know that many of the groups are now interrelated either by religion, by marriage, or other kind of things. And so they were really principles based upon family, based upon marriage, based upon religion. And as a result of this, it was very difficult for many of the groups, the ethnic groups, to operate basically on the point of, this is my ethnic group, so therefore this is what I am. And we find out that later on, these had some dire consequences when people began to use ethnicity as a basis of the coup or basis of the war. Because here, as a result of these associations and relationships, people were now connected. And even now, we can say the same thing. There are many people who are so connected now that what affects one person will affect the other person because of these associations and relationships that have been created.